So you were wanting to look where Mustafa was and inform me what you found out.
I'm not exactly sure where he is,
Yep.
but I'll head up into this area here. I don't want to go over to the church because it's just not necessary, I don't think, at this point. So I'm going to go around here and check for either him or another member of the watch that might know where he is.
Alright. So as you head that way with your thoughts leaning towards the idea that your investigation will have to wait till nightfall, when it seems that so far it seems that this creature, whatever it is, has been active.
Well, that and its slime seems to really despise the light. It does seem to indicate that it is a nighttime kind of creature.
Okay. Alright, so as you head towards the town square, there are still... It is much more vacant now than it was before. There is still a few people coming by, trying to get a look at what's going on. Not too surreptitiously, but they're trying. There's still the two watch members on taking care of the house.
Yep.
There's no sign of Mustafa. There's no sign of Bilius or Father Gregor either.
Okay.
At the moment.
Well, I'm going to go up to the two guards.
Okay.
And ask if they know where where Mustafa is.
Yes, they say he's currently discussing things with his findings with the alderman. This is in his house, I believe. In his dwelling. Yes.
Okay. That's like 10 feet away, so I'll head over there and knock on the door.
Okay. All right, you knock on the door.
Yep.
Much to your displeasure, Bilius opens it. He says, "Yeah, what do you want?"
Well, I'm here to talk to Mustafa, if you would like to know.
He's busy talking to the alderman and my father. He says,
Well, I have some important information for them.
"Make a persuasion check."
Oh yeah, this is going to go well.
Not just a straight roll, though. I didn't give you disadvantage. He doesn't like you, but he knows this is official business.
Oh. That's a 16 minus 1.
15! I think that's more than enough. He says, "Oh, wait here. I'll see if they want to speak to you, too." He more or less slams the door.
Run along.
He definitely slams the door. And then stomps off.
Yes. Charming fellow.
Yes. So we're waiting there a few minutes.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to really rush to tell them.
Your patience is starting to wane when we reach the 5-minute mark waiting here, though.
Oh, really?
There is definitely a conversation inside going on, but...
And is there anyone in the square at the moment?
There are probably, apart from the two watch officers who are on the at Eva's place, probably only about 3 or 4 people, and they're mostly just passing by. And their attention really isn't on us.
Okay. Near the peak of the house, around the chimney that you see there,
Yep.
I can have my owl pop into existence right by the chimney, so hopefully no one will notice.
Yep. Okay.
And then have her flutter down near a window and listen, see what this conversation is about.
Okay. So are you actually going to have her fly down near a window to take a look in, or are you just trying to listen?
I'm trying to listen.
Okay.
So I'll just lean on my staff, close my eyes, and focus on her senses.
Yep. Okay.
And see if she can perceive what's going on inside the house.
Alright, make a perception check. With advantage, we can do to your owl's ability. Okay, that's pretty good. As you're listening in, you hear two voices really, and they're not shouting, but they're definitely raised voices. They're definitely two people who are trying to argue two sides of a point. One you do recognize is Mustafa, so he's definitely in there. Bilius was not lying about that. And the other is definitely Gregor.
Okay.
So you're fairly certain that Bilius has been telling you the truth so far, but is either saw no reason to tell them what's going on, or has been unable to get a word in edgewise, or both.
Okay. So what are they arguing about?
Mustafa's voice says, "Look, this doesn't matter at the moment." He says, "What what your church believes needs to be done in the situation. This is a criminal investigation. I don't care what this thing is. It has murdered someone under my charge. My jurisdiction has that I lead the investigation." And here says, "Criminal. It says, this abomination which has come out from the underworld is not. It says not something that you." Says, "and your watch officers can handle." It says, "Only the light of Mithras can cast it out." He says, Mustafa says, "The light of Mithras, yes. It says, like, how effective will that be during the night when this creature seems to strike?" It says, "And your god seems to have his attention elsewhere." And he's getting a little annoyed at this point. Clearly you've come into a heated argument midway through. Gregor is about to say something, and you see Ivor holds out and says, Gentlemen, please." Says, "We have already," it says, "a member of our community," says, in a way, a pinnacle of our community, someone who has lived here for her entire life, almost a century, says, and all that time has done nothing but care for the people of this town, is dead. We do not have time to be fighting amongst ourselves. It says, I welcome any and all assistance in dealing with this matter." It says, "It does not matter from whence that help comes." It says,
the voice of reason.
yes. It says, "Commander, has your investigation turned up anything that can help assist us in finding this thing, or what it is, and how we drive it out?" There you see Mustafa says, the most you're able to find, apart from what was at the crime scene, he says, is that a few drunks managed to. He says something about shadows moving in the night, screams. I was like, it's all very unsubstantial. He says, "Very well." He says, "Father Gregor," says, "do the records of your temple, or the teachings of your deity, shed any light on what this thing is and how we deal with it?" He says, and I wish to stress here, Father, that I am looking for something slightly more substantial than simply prayer and alms," he says, as a suggestion. He says, clearly anticipating what Gregor would probably claim as the first solution to the problem.
Yes, everyone wants to go to church.
Gregor says, "The teachings of Mithras tell us a great many things about dealing with creatures that come out of the darkness and from the underworld below." He says, "However, if you're looking for something more specific to dealing with this creature, I will have to look through the church records myself. That will take some time," he says, "but it can certainly be done if that is the will of the people." He says, "Thank you." He says, you hear him say, "Bilius, you've been standing there for some time. You did go away for a short period of time to answer the door, I believe. Is there someone here who wishes to speak with me?" And he says, yeah, Jonas and the blue one are here. He says, kind of half muttering. He says, I did ask them to if they could assist us in this matter. He says, Father Gregor, he says, you have records to peruse through. Oh, he says, I suggest that you take your trusted son here with you. I imagine the two of you will make shorter work of this than you alone. He says with a smile. Commander, I would like you to remain. He says, perhaps their investigation will yield some collaboration if we combine the evidence they have found with yours. He says, now, gentlemen, I am sure I'm keeping you. And with that, Gregor and Bilius exit the room, and you're pretty sure they're heading back towards the front door.
I think they're coming by us.
We are by the front door, yes, so it might be a good idea to pop out of your...
Oh, he's not near the front door. He's sorry.
No, but we are, and you are sort of just leaning and kind of...
Oh, yes.
in a trance.
My bad. Yes, I will come back to myself and just have her fly to a tree nearby.
Yeah, an owl is not going to raise suspicion. There's tons of them around here. Alright, so the door opens. Bilius comes out first, and it looks like he's about to say something. Gregor says, Gregor doesn't have to say anything, but he just gives Bilius a look, and Bilius is facing away from him, but it's enough to convince him that probably now is not the time. And he says, Jonas, he turns to look at me, he says, your friend, whose name I do not recall at the moment, he says, I understand the two of you have been assisting the Watch Commander Mustafa with this investigation. He says, I certainly hope you two have come up with something more substantial than he has thus far. He says, I will not take up any of your time, as I have my own matters to tend to. Come, Bilius. They head off. And that's pretty much how most of your interactions with Gregor go. Kind of courteous but gruff.
As they're walking off...
Yes?
His name is Aquans, by the way, as I go in the house.
Yeah.
I'm not waiting for a response.
There wasn't probably going to be one, admittedly.
That's okay. I wasn't going to give him the opportunity. Anyway.
Yep. Alright.
So I'm going to go in.
So we enter. We are greeted by Varus, Xyloscient, who is the elvish steward and lore master who works in the alderman's place, effectively helping him with his records and maintaining his collection of books that officially accounts to being the village's library, apart from what the church keeps. So he's the one who comes and greets us and shows us into the alderman's.
This is someone you know, right? This is.
We both know. We both know Varus. Yes.
No, yeah, but this is someone you have spent some time in the library with, right?
Yes, we both have.
Probably try not to put on the books at the same time they're reading them.
We will skip over that.
All right, let's go talk to Mustafa.
All right, so we go. Yeah, we are showed into where Ivor and Mustafa are.
Good.
He says, "Thank you, Varus." He says, and he closed the door. He says, "Have you two found anything?"
I know you're looking for a quick resolution to this, and I can understand that. The problem is, the thing that we're dealing with is definitely a nighttime creature. And we are probably going to need to wait until after dark. The thing that I found the most disturbing is there's something about the watchtower.
Mustafa looks at this. What do you mean by that?
You know the trail I followed, right?
They both nod, yes.
Where it came from below. But it headed towards the watchtower, so I decided to go and do a quick investigation around, and I don't get anything specific about it, but there's definitely something odd. Something has changed. Something is giving me that, creepy vibe about the Watchtower. Something must have decided either to hole up there for the day or something. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I know for sure that if we're going to find anything solid, we're going to have to wait until nighttime.
Mustafa is like, interesting. Just to be sure, I will have the tower searched somewhat. He says, we'll search these surrounding grounds. But he says, I do find it a bit odd that whatever this thing is, that it could get inside the tower under our very noses.
Well, there are some things that can be rather insubstantial when they want to be.
The Ivor speaks up as one and says, yes, he says, like, creatures. He says, ghosts in the night. He's thinking aloud. He says, like, our village hasn't had to deal with anything close to like this, and just certainly not my time. He says, and I don't think my predecessors either. He says, I know there would be a solution somewhere to this, but I am, he says, at a loss. He says, that's why I wanted to speak with Gregor. He says, say what you will about the Church of Mithras, but but that cult keeps excellent records. There may be something that they can turn up about something like this happening once before. They see an idea comes to him. Says, like, come to think of it. It says, I have always kept. Varus keeps excellent records and has kept so for both my predecessors. Perhaps there's something in there that we can turn up that might shed some light on this.
That definitely sounds like an idea.
He says, you two are on rather good terms with him. He says, why don't you see what you can dig up in the archives? He says,
what we're going to do is we'll definitely go do that.
Yeah. He says, Captain Mustafa has to see to the tower. He says, and I promised I'd stop by and have a word with Ander and Perrin. He says, to try and reassure them that their family isn't being brought into this at all. Some people are getting a little concerned that, in their panic, few people have insinuated that the family that has been taking Edith her meals for the past 2 weeks may have had something to do with this.
Oh, you gotta love people when they start to panic.
Yes, they seek scapegoats. I'm going to be quashing these rumors as quickly as I can. But it doesn't change the fact that I will also have to be asking them some questions. Perhaps there's something that they may have noticed. We don't know how long this thing has been here. 2 weeks period. Perhaps they would have noticed something. It's not likely, I know, but I will take whatever situation I can.
Please keep that in mind. Alright, we'll head off to the library.
Yeah, which is really just next door. It's in the same building.
I know. Head off to the library. Yeah. Through that door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, so Ivor and Mustafa both head off to do their respective tasks, which leaves us with Varus.
Okay, as we're heading there, there's something I want to mention to you, Aquans, as we go there.
Okay.
If we were going to stay up all night and do a nighttime investigation of this, sometime this afternoon we're going to have to get some downtime, a rest, or we're going to get exhausted. So I don't want to be tired and end up missing something. So.
That is a good point. At this point, we're approaching noon because this is early morning. So we have quite a long time to wait before dusk, which is probably going to be around somewhere between 7 and 8.
Yeah, a little bit of library time, and then I suggest we go to the inn. And I know it's not really a big inn, but we can get caught in the back or whatever, get some sleep for a bit. If not, we can go to my mom's. I know she's off doing some midwife stuff anyway, so maybe we can just go. Actually, we'll just go there. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm sure my dad's around somewhere, and we can just crash for a bit.
All right.
Don't have to tell them too many things. I know they tend to worry.
All right. So we go into the archive.
Yes.
It is. It's a relatively small library because it is effectively just. Admittedly, it's taking up probably one of the largest rooms in the alderman's estate, but it is still just one room.
Yeah.
So it's basically all the walls have bookshelves on them, and there's basically a long table with chairs in the center, and there's a few other things there. Varus is just asking if we need any assistance or if he can leave us to this door.
Just point us to any of the town's history books that might shed some light on possible visitors before in the past that caused this sort of problem. And,
Okay. He does point to basically, which is a book that takes a bookshelf that takes in the majority of the history texts and books on folklore and other things, and which is basically what Off the Plateau is almost regulated to at this point. It's mytho-history more than actual history at this point. But yeah, there's more than that. If you want to make an investigation, yeah, you can.
Okay.
23. Alright. The good news is that roll is going to speed this up considerably. It's more than enough, but it's high enough that this is probably going to shorten our search a little bit.
Good, because we probably really need that now.
Okay, it still takes us a little while, even with the two of us looking through this. But as we are looking through the books, we find an entry upon, which is again basically out of mythology and folklore than actual history, but still has some historic significance to it. It does deal with Off the Plateau. It also seems to deal a little bit with the cult of Mithras itself, as being one of...
Really? So there's a tie-in between these kinds of occurrences and those guys?
It seems to be that the recorder of this was speaking to a priest of Mithras and was recording information based on some of their own experiences.
Okay. And what was it?
Well, it goes on for a little bit. Mostly it's talking about proper burial rites and vengeful spirits. And then that's when it starts getting like, okay, this is starting to lead in the area we're heading towards. And it mentions a very specific type of restless spirit. It is referred to as a larvae, which is, it seems, as far as you can tell, it seems to be a sort of basically almost like a lesser ghost in a sense that seeks to punish the living. Many of them are recorded as being either not receiving proper burial rites or being the results of certain taboos. Other ones come back to punish individuals who wronged them in life. But the part...
like a big pile of bones at the bottom of the execution tower is not necessarily completely not tied into this.
No. However, where it really does start to get interesting is when it gets into some of the details about these things. Larvae are included in the concept of people being afraid of the dark. Larvae are nearly invisible when in shadows or in dim light. This combined with their generally small size makes them quite hard to see. Some people have described them as literally being shadows moving, almost, more than anything else. And they are known to feast upon the living. This unhallowed feast not only it does seem to provide them with some form of nourishment. There's talk of larvae being able to heal themselves, heal their injuries by feeding, and they seem to almost fortify themselves, grow strong, like they become tougher to deal with almost. and their bite, which is their primary means of feeding, and this does seem to cause a form of rot to occur. Also, these creatures have been, and the account is given, is almost like levitating or floating above the ground, in a sense, which might explain how it got up here.
Is there any mention of slime?
There is mention that they do sometimes leave a form of ectoplasmic residue, is what is usually referred to as.
Okay.
And one last thing that gives us that is the larvae are incapable of speech, but they do remember have some lingering memories of who they were, and they do remember language to some degree and can respond to voices. And the closest that they can come to imitating the voices they have is a sort of piercing, gurgling cry, which is audible from quite a distance. And this cry is so piercing and chilling that it can actually has been known to paralyze victims. And as you remember of hearing that, you remember that Albrecht heard the cry almost like the wind that came from beyond the grave, and you also remember that Edith's limbs were quite stiff. You just linked it to rigor mortis at the time, but if she did die while being paralyzed, it's possible that that process did not completely undo itself.
I think we have a winner.
Yeah.
Sounds like our culprit.
Yeah. The only other thing that it really says here is they will usually try to find some dark place to rest during the day. They dislike the sunlight, which makes them quite visible, and they'll often find some dark place which is not frequented. A few places are listed, such as a crypt, graveyard. A few examples have been known to hide in basements, particularly if they happen to have a house that they used to live in. They will often return there.
Okay. Well, we do have a cemetery here, but I don't think there's any like mausoleum type places that they could actually get into.
We don't. Yeah, it is more just a small scale graveyard. There's no real mausoleum.
Yeah. But it did head towards the watchtower.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have never been in there really, but
It is a very old building.
It might be a basement there. We could head back there.
We could.
But if we don't find anything, I think this is definitely going to be a nighttime thing.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, if this thing is the shade or spirit of a condemned criminal who was seeking vengeance for being punished, the closest it might have to a house these days, it might be misremembering. There's lots of accounts of that among spirits. Maybe it sees the cell it was in, and the only place that prisoners are ever kept in this village, as far as I'm aware, is in the watchtower.
Also, this is a very patient, vengeful spirit, seeing how that was, over 30 years ago? Last execution. Well, one that we know of, anyway.
Yes.
I suggest that we head straight back to the watchtower, then.
Okay. Alright, so as we say, so we're saying goodbye to Varus, then we're heading out. Yep.
Yeah.
Are we going to give him anything to pass on to the alderman or Mustafa should they return?
Yeah, tell them that we have a really good lead, and we're heading towards the watchtower.
Okay.
We don't know anything concrete yet.
Okay, so that's where we're heading. Alright, so as we head out... Alright, so we are heading towards the watchtower. On the way there, as we are passing by the inn, we run into Cora, who is Bree's mother, who runs the inn, and is effectively one of the two de facto cooks, along with Perrin.
Right.
And she's looking around, and then she sees us and heads over and says, "Have either of you seen Bree?" Says, she seems to have snuck out while the alderman was talking to us. I don't think she took too kindly to the idea that some suspicions fallen on us.
Well, you know, it is a dumb people. They pick anything as a scapegoat. Don't worry, we're going to solve this and make sure that no ill comes to any of you.
She says, I'm a little worried because apparently she overheard someone saying that... she says, I really shouldn't gossip like this. She says that apparently she overheard that Bilius was one of the ones casting some suspicion on our family. And she stormed out after she heard that.
Not a surprise.
I say to you...
So my fond memories of that fellow.
I say to you, that also may not be a good sign.
Yes. Well, we have two things now, two paths we can head on. We can go find her.
I say to you, just basically just put my hand on my face like this, is like, this isn't something we needed at the moment. But if what we know is correct, there isn't going to be any trouble until nightfall. Says we have plenty of time to look for her if you want to.
Well, we're right here now, right?
Yes, we're in the village, yes. We're basically right in front of the inn.
I'm within 120 feet of my owl then?
If the owl is still where you left it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to contact my owl and tell her to do a circuit. Stay within 120 feet of me and notify me if she sees Bree.
It's a good thing that's basically a magical telepathic bond, otherwise that would look a little odd, you talking to... Yeah.
Hi, I'm talking to you way over there.
Yeah, no, but I know what you mean. Like, you don't have to actually say anything to relay instructions. Okay, so you want your owl to just circle.
Do a circle and look for Bree.
Okay, roll a perception check.
Oh, good old advantage really helps. 22. Oh, sorry, 21.
21, okay. Well, as your owl starts circling around, she does see Bree, who is, well, basically just is over by is hiding. As far as you can tell, she was hiding quite well, but not 21 well. Over by the church and Ivor Bilius' place. Not in the middle, like she's hiding off to the side. Yes.
On this side or back here, like towards the docks?
Yes, over by the docks. But she's definitely over there, and she definitely looks like she's keeping an eye on things.
Okay, I'm going to tell her mother.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, we're on the case here. We're gonna go get her and make sure she keeps herself out of trouble, and then we're gonna briskly walk
across the bridge.
Across the bridge.
The good news is,
my owl's gonna perch up here on this building.
Yep, you can easily.
Keep an eye on her.
Yeah. All right. Even at a brisk walk, it's not gonna take us more than like a minute to get there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And this may surprise her a little bit, but I'm going to walk right up to her.
Yep.
Hi, Bree.
I do want to roll a reaction for this. 1 second. I kid you not, that's a natural 20. For all the good this does. That's unclear.
You wasted a 20 on this. All right.
Yes, I did. She's not at all surprised to see you.
Interesting.
It's like she's quite happy to see you. It's like, no, but
well, I say to her, this isn't good. I know some of what I've heard of what's going on with. I just point a thumb at that place.
yeah.
But it's probably not a good idea that you're out here. Why don't you come help us instead?
Roll a persuasion check. This isn't going to be too high of a DC, I don't think.
Oh, that's good, because I rolled a 10, -1. 9.
Unfortunately, I did have that set as a 10. That's a...
Don't make me pick you up and carry you.
Okay. I think we'll call it a partial success. So, she's like... She kind of wants... she's like being torn. She obviously knows that Bilious has been causing some troubles and isn't happy. Yeah, but on the other hand, she does like the idea of going off and doing something interesting.
I say to her again, staying here is only going to cause trouble for your family. I know they're a bunch of you-know-whats, but it's not a good idea to be here and cause further problems for them and you. I know my roll's sucky, but I think the logic should work. You look like she's on the fence.
Once you bring up the fact that it's probably going to cause problems for her family, she definitely doesn't want to do that. So I was like... So... Yeah, she's... I think she's basically leaning towards the idea of going with us.
Good.
Okay. So as
Grab
we...
her by the hand and we head off.
Okay. As we head off, though, I want you to try and make a perception check here. Something interesting is going to...
Roll perception.
Your owl is nearby, isn't she?
On top of that house.
Then you can roll with advantage if your owl's there. That was bad.
I think my good rolls are petering out. 9.
With advantage.
That's with advantage.
Wow. I mean, her roll is not much better, but it is better. Oh wow! Even with sleight of hand proficiency, that's only an 11.
Well.
Okay. Basically, you just the only way to because you don't notice anything until it happens. There is basically almost like this. Basically, what someone thinks of like almost like a ghostly or ghastly wail emanates from just nearby the house and the temple. And we obviously all hear that.
Okay, hold on a sec. There is a ghostly wail coming from this place?
It's basically just the area, just outside. That's what you hear. That's what we all hear as we leave.
And I look around. What do I see?
You see you looking over there, myself looking over there, Bree looking over there, looking slightly innocent, and apparently it's convincing enough.
Do I think that Bree has done something?
You also hear movement from inside the house, not the church. So,
Look at Bree.
there's a possibility we should have this conversation elsewhere, I say.
Alright. I definitely have her by the hand already anyway.
Yep.
I'm going to drag her off.
So you don't have to drag her. She seems happy to leave now.
Well, she's a halfling. I'm going to drag her.
Okay. You don't have to. So what was it you wanted to say?
Once we're out of earshot.
Yep.
Then you want to tell me there, Bree?
Just, nope. Where are we going?
Insight check.
Insight check. Okay.
I know her well, too.
You do. This is a low DC, but you can still roll. Sorry, this will be easier for you, but oh wait, yes, this isn't a DC. It would be.
I rolled a 19 with a -1.
Insight's wisdom.
Oh, I'm sorry. 22 then. Sorry, 21.
That definitely beats her 12. She is telling you a bold-faced lie. She knows exactly what happened, and you're basically guaranteed. It's like, okay, I know you had something to do with that.
Yeah, check. Would I have to roll for this being some form of minor illusion? Because I do know some minor illusion spells.
I would want you to roll for it, but it won't be high DC.
It's over 20 with all my modifiers.
You are an apprentice wizard, so you haven't been around a long time, but you do know illusion spells yourself. You know silent illusion, I believe, is the spell.
Silent image, yeah.
Yeah, silent image? Okay, so you've studied illusions. You also know that when you were learning some of those spells, that there was another lesser spell, a cantrip, basically, called minor illusion, that can create a sound effect like that, or an image. And from all that, you're pretty sure, it's like, from that roll, it's like, and all this, it's like, it's pretty obvious that that was the spell she cast. It was just something to freak them out, I think, is what you're thinking.
Alright. So we're heading over the bridge now?
We're over the bridge.
Alright.
We're back towards the market square. And we're in the town square now.
Okay. Is Mom still out? Or has she gone back inside?
She's still there, and she's happy to see us bringing Bree up.
Yeah. So don't worry, we'll keep an eye on her for you.
Okay. She's like a little. She's not really confused, because she's a little confused about what's going on, but she knows us, and she knows that Bree gets along with us, and she's like, they're responsible enough. They'll keep an eye on her.
More than her, anyway.
Yeah. It's like, and you also get the feeling that she's thinking like, yeah, it's probably also the best that she's probably out of the not around for some of this next for the rest of the day. It's like it might be better for her to be distracted a little bit. Is what.
Well, hopefully we won't get into more trouble than she would on her own.
Okay.
So she has no clue that I figured out what she did, though, right?
No, nope, not as far as you were aware.
Right.
You did roll a quite high insight check before. She's radiating innocence in a suspicious amount.
Yes. Alright. We're going to head south and head towards the watchtower.
The good news is that didn't take long. I'm tipping my hat to you here. That could have gone a lot worse.
It could have easily gone a lot worse. But it didn't, so let's not worry about it.
Because I'm pretty sure you know the spells that she has.
Well,
Just remember.
The minor illusion.
Yeah, well, I meant, some of her other ones too.
I don't know anything.
Oh, no?
No, sorry. I know.
Yes.
Jonas does not.
Jonas does not. Yeah, so you know that could have gone a little worse.
Yes, she could have done worse things. Yes.
Yes. This is
back into the game.
This is back into the game, yeah.
I'm gonna head south and with 3 sets of eyes now looking. Oh, by the way, I was gonna pop my owl.
Yep, okay, that's fine.
Because,
Again,
owl sitting forever on top of a house is eventually gonna draw some kind of suspicion.
yeah.
And I'm not really too concerned about them at the moment.
Okay. What are you,
You said I got a weird feeling. So I was going to do a skirt around again. See if I notice anything. And we have an extra pair of eyes now, and apparently an extra pair of magical senses as well. So
okay.
I will have a look, and you guys as well, and see what we come up with.
Okay. So because you're having Bree with us now, I can't give advantage more than once. So what I'm going to say is, you roll with Bree's assistance, and I'll roll my characters. We're going for, what are we going for here again? Investigation.
Well, you said that I had a weird feeling, right?
Yep.
And now that I actually know what I'm looking for,
Yep.
I want to. Well, I don't know if that's really going to change the role at all, but I want to see if there's any indications of that sort of entity being here.
Okay, so we're
On the outside, I know it's a stretch, but
okay. So this is going to be it's going to be investigation or perception. I'm going with investigation. That's not bad. I have a 16.
You beat me.
Oh, with advantage.
Yeah, apparently my good luck at rolling is taking a break for the moment.
Well, we've done some serious research into all this at this point, and we come back with that knowledge to help. And we do find it takes a while, but we do find what stuck out before. On the western side, near the base of the tower.
Over here?
Yeah, basically closer to it's basically the side that's visible. Yeah, that face right there.
Yep.
At the base of that, there is a patch of dirt and some... yeah, and there's a loose section in the base of that wall, and there's a patch of disturbed soil leading down. That if there was a basement in this watchtower, you think it looks like something might have tried to dig its way in.
Okay, so there's a loose stone, you said, right?
It's a little bit like that, like little loose section. Like there's some stone. Yeah, there's a little bit of loose.
Not like I can actually just like pull it out kind of thing, or just like a little crack that maybe something that doesn't really have a solid body can squeeze through kind of thing.
No, it is basically like there's almost like a brick almost has been dislodged. You don't know what dislodged it. It might just have been time.
Okay. Can
But
I see through a crack? Or
it is dark inside.
it's dark inside?
Yeah.
But I can see where the brick ends, so I know how wide that gap is, right?
Yep.
Okay. This might be stretching it a little bit, but I'm going to have my owl pop into existence.
On the opposite side. You do not need to see it. You just need to know that there's a space there for the owl to appear.
Hopefully a big enough space for an owl.
Okay.
And
So you summon your familiar on the other side.
yep.
You sense everything went well.
Okay. Because she doesn't know anything what's going on here, I'm going to hold my head up to the hole.
Yeah.
Close my eyes because she can't see my eyes at this point, and I'm going to I will concentrate through my owl senses.
Okay. Alright. So, on your owl's part, I want you to roll 2 checks for me.
Alright.
The first will be perception.
Alright. Oh, we're getting back into the good numbers. 21.
Okay. Your owl has perfect dark vision and has a keen sense of sight and hearing and is looking around, and I hate to tell you this, but finds nothing. This is funny. This is funny. I rolled at this advantage. The 2 numbers were a 1 and a natural 20.
Oh, God.
I kid you not. I would show these to you, but it doesn't. It won't show up. All right, now please roll a stealth check for your owl.
Does the owl have any modifiers to stealth?
Yes, I believe it's +2.
+2?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
18.
Okay. Yeah, nothing seems to happen.
Okay, so my owl's on the other side of us. What kind of, like, what do I see?
It looks like a disused basement? Storeroom? You're not quite sure. It looks like no one's been in here for quite some time. It's been a long time since people came down here.
Is there a door into this room?
Yes, it sort of has like a staircase coming down, and there's a wooden door with metal on it as well, like a latch. It's a standard looking door. It just looks like it hasn't been opened in quite a while.
Okay. I will allow my owl to pop into existence again.
Okay, you want to summon your familiar?
Yep, and then I'm going to stand up, blink, because like, I'm trying to see through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be a room there, but I can't see squat. I don't see anything in there at all.
I know. I pick up on that.
Above somebody's head so that she can't see the knowing look. All of being short.
I think that's going to be a contested roll.
What, doing this over her head? Alright.
This is probably going to be deception on your part.
Alrighty. So that's what?
Charisma.
9 minus 1 is 8.
She does not have insight as far as I'm aware. Beats her 5. That's the second 5. That's the second 5 in a row. In case you're wondering.
Crappy numbers work.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, she doesn't seem. I know what you're talking about. She does not. I say, well then, I think we know where we're looking.
Tonight.
I say, are we waiting till tonight still?
I saw nothing in there.
That doesn't mean it's not in there.
True. But I suppose we could go and ask the guards that are on station at the moment if we can have a look around.
Yeah, Mustafa did say he was going to be examining the watchtower, but based on the room you just described, it sounds like the watch does not go down there much. They may have even forgotten it exists.
Alright, I'm going to go around to the front.
Yep.
I assume there's a guard. Someone on duty, because, well, I mean, they're probably on higher alert now because of events.
Yep.
But anyway, regardless of whether I have to knock or not, I'll get somebody's attention.
You do have to knock, because they are basically inside. Okay.
Okay.
It's the same young watch officer that you spoke to earlier before noon.
I say hi. And
You do notice that now the main difference between him now and before is that he has his spear basically on hand.
oh,
So they are a little bit more on watch.
okay.
Pretty sure
Are
they
you
have
also
spear.
aware that Mustafa's asked me and you to have a look into this?
Yes, he is aware of that.
Has been by to search and have a look around your guardhouse because he said he was going to do that.
He says he did come by and told us to watch it to search it thoroughly. He says, but then apparently a messenger came running and asked him to go assist the alderman.
Alright.
He says, just me and 2 others here at the moment. We've done a pretty good search as far as I can tell. So nothing seems to. He's like, he's thinking. He thinks about it and says like, he comes to the conclusion they have permission to look around from the commander. Says maybe they'll find something we missed. Yeah, sure, come in. Then he sees Bree and it's just like, sure, come in. It's just like he thinks about it for a second and then it's just like, what do I care? Or in all honesty. Maybe it says that you think it comes to the conclusion they're both tall, she's short. Maybe they need her to search something
Check under doors
and stuff.
check
Yeah.
under boxes.
He's written it off as being
Unimportant.
yeah,
Above his pay grade or whatever.
basically.
Alright. In my head,
Yeah.
I'm going to picture the outside of the watchtower.
Yep.
And that section I look through with my all senses. And I'm going to head towards the floor where I think that trapdoor or door down would be.
Okay. So there is a staircase in here that is almost like a spiral, well, not quite a spiral staircase because this is a rectangular tower.
Yeah.
But basically, at the far end of the wall is where the staircase starts from where you enter. And one section is going up, and one section is clearly heading down.
But there is a door there?
If you look down, yes, there is a door at the base of those stairs.
I'll head down that way.
Okay. He's like, we don't really go down there anymore. He says, This is like as if just to bring that in, but he doesn't try and stop you. He's just,
just being thorough.
He says, "Okay, I think we did look down there, but okay."
All right. Door.
The door.
Locked.
It is. He goes, "Oh, it is. Hang on." He goes over to. Basically, they do have a desk near the in the middle of this floor of the watchtower, and he rummages around and pulls out a key ring and comes over and says, "We just keep it locked. It's a procedure, I guess." Takes him about a minute to find the right key.
Right.
And then unlocks it for us and opens the door.
Right. I should just leave the key with me and I'll lock it as we leave.
Okay. He works the key off the ring.
Yeah.
And hands it to us. And hands it to you. Yeah. Says it's basically just one big room. It's got some stuff in it, but that we just forgot about. In all honesty, mostly used for storage these days.
All right. Open the door.
The door's open. He unlocked it and opened it. So yeah.
You unlocked it and opened it.
Yep.
Okay. What do I see?
It is a very dark room.
Well.
Are we closing the door behind us? Because if we do, there is a very small amount of light coming in, which you know is
part of my kit. I have some candles.
Some candles, yes.
And
A lantern, presumably.
no lantern.
No?
I have a candle, but it has one of those hurricane sleeves that fit over it. It's a glass tube.
Yep.
Light the candle, put the tube over it, and hold that in front of me to see what I see.
Okay. There is one little bit of light coming in, and you know where that light is coming in from now.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I have a light source.
So it sheds dim light, as it is. In about, I'm probably going to say somewhere between 10 and 15 feet. You do know that this creature...
I know what I can do.
The research we did earlier, this creature is much harder to see in dim light and shadows.
I know what I need to do here, so... Alright. I put the candle away.
Okay.
I take out... it's basically a small cap I put over my staff and cast light on that.
Okay, so you cast the light cantrip.
I cast the light cantrip. Obviously, they're not looking anywhere from above, right?
The door's closed behind us.
Right. And I cast light and I stick that on the cap.
So that sheds bright light. So that lights up quite nicely in here. I see where we're going with this, and I say, yeah, okay. And I cast light on my staff. Bree is,
Bree obviously knows.
is like, is surprised, but not, it is like, has a big, wide smile on her face.
And I look straight into her eyes and I say, this is our little secret, right, Bree? Just like your little noise that you did a little while ago. Right, Bree?
She somewhat blushes a little bit and smiles, and she snaps her fingers, and 4 little will-o'-the-wisp style candle lights almost. She casts dancing lights around her, and they all form around her. Just our little secret, right? As if this is basically this is her way of showing that we're all in on this secret together, but just us.
Okay, goes.
So now we have tons of light.
All of a sudden it's blazing in here. They're probably wondering we started a bonfire down in the basement. I have the key though, right?
You have the key.
I locked the door.
Yep, you locked the door. That's easy enough to do.
I put it in one of my jacket pockets.
Mm-hmm. There is also, by the way, in addition to the lock, there is a latch if you want to lock. To put that too.
There we go. Actually, that's better. I'll unlock the door.
To latch it.
Then I'll latch it instead, because if we have to leave in a hurry,
Yeah.
that would be much easier.
Okay. He was not kidding. This is one big room.
So does it encompass the entire?
The entire. This is in a massive chamber, one big room, full of boxes, full of dust and cobwebs and just things that have been left to neglect and time.
Okay, before we start investigating, I should probably let Bree in on what we're looking for.
Yeah, okay, this should be interesting. What do you tell her, exactly?
I tell her, not any great detail, but I tell her we're looking for what amounts to a disgruntled spirit. Hopefully not a powerful one, but definitely stick close to us, and we will hopefully be able to deal with it in short order.
Let's see how she reacts to that news. That was almost a 2, but it's an 18. She's
found her courage.
Yeah. To be fair, she is a Lightfoot halfling, which means they have an ability it's called bravery.
Oh.
Makes her quite resistant to fear.
Cool.
So yeah, she's quite pleased. It's like this is the wide-eyed adventure sort of spirit.
Ah, great. So she can play my role for a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We are still on the stairwell.
Yeah.
And
just to break character for a second.
Yeah.
If anyone's wondering why I chose Jonas as a name, it is from Stargate, and Jonas was a character who had that bright-eyed, always looking into everything, and hell, this is the first time I'm doing this kind of approach.
Yeah.
But apparently, for the moment, Bree's going to be taking over that, and that particular role. So let's be careful as we look through this place.
Yeah. So I just
the cat is under the bag.
Yeah.
I think you should let your cat out, and I'll bring my owl out.
Okay.
And we'll have
As many eyes on this as we can, and as many advantages as we can. Okay, I just double checked. Light sheds bright light in a 20-foot radius.
Alright. And how big is this place?
It is probably... Well, it's a square tower. So it's probably about 80 foot square. No, it's probably, no, about 100 feet square across.
Alright.
And so our light doesn't cover everything.
Well, if we spread out a little bit, we don't want to get too far from each other, but we just get about 10 feet apart, 3 in the middle. We're going to have...
Bree, realizing that her little dancing lights only shed dim lights compared to ours, brings all 4 of them together and they can form basically what amounts to almost like a light spell.
Alright.
So now we have 3 bright sources of bright light.
Fan out a little bit, staying obviously within sight of each other, and we need to search this place.
Okay. So, how are we searching this place is the question. Are we investigating or are we using perception because we have our familiars out? They only have advantage on perception checks.
Well, my skills are with investigation. My owls is with perception.
Yes.
But I think my number's a bit better.
Okay, so you're going to roll investigation.
Yep. With assistance from you, I assume?
Yes, I'm also going to roll for Bree on her own.
Alright. That comes up to a 19 for me. Or us, I should say.
Bree has an 8.
Still too wide-eyed, huh?
She doesn't have investigation. Neither do I. It's a 19. Okay. One moment. All right. We have, because, all right, it doesn't take us too long. We've stripped this thing of its advantage, literally, with all this light. So, it doesn't take a, so basically, almost close to the opposite corner from where it entered, basically,
Yep.
we see basically what amounts to a patch of shadow that does not retreat when our light cantrip reaches it.
And how does it respond to being in full light now?
Well, obviously there is absolutely no way for us to stealthily approach us. We have
We
are holding our staves before us and creating a massive amount of light.
Yes.
This creature is going to be aware of that. So basically, we become aware of it at the same time it becomes aware of us. And I'm going to describe this thing because you described it as being humanoid earlier when you didn't know what it was, and that you see now that was clearly a bit of a mistake. It's almost serpent or worm-like almost in appearance, a little bit. It's got what?
With a human mouth, though?
Yeah, it's basically almost like as it rises up out of the darkness when it sees the light, you see its face is a skull, basically. Literally just a skull. No eyes, no glowing eyes, just voids. And it has like a cowl and a long, almost serpent or worm-like form that is made of almost liquid shadow. And it is roiling and moving in the light, and you see stuff dripping off of it, that ectoplasmic things. You also see as it basically raises almost like a pair of hands that just emerge out of its form that are also skeletal, kind of trying to shield itself from the light. But it is aware of us, and we are aware of it, and it is time to roll for initiative.
Alright. I have a 7. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I'm not used to having a dexterity modifier.
Yeah, you do this time.
9.
You have a what?
9.
9. Okay. Just going to set up the initiative order here. And I'm also going to keep track of our hit points. You have the same as I do.
Yeah. It's pretty easy when you're level 1. Gotta glance over once you get that all set up and want to see what Bree's reaction is now to an actual threat.
Yep, okay. We'll get to that in a moment. Alright, myself and Bree. Alright. I have a 13. Bree has a 12.
Going last again.
We don't know what this thing has yet. I think you are going last. It has a 10.
Oh, good God. Alright.
This is not... Alright. So, some of Bree's confidence is a little shaken by this, but not much. She's still quite wide-eyed and eager, though she does clearly recognize that this thing is hostile towards us as it rears up and gives its kind of gurgling attempt at speech, from what we recall being in the texts that we read. And we also know that gurgling sound can sharply amplify itself, but I'm up first. So, well, wanting to try and admittedly we're almost at full spell slots here, but I'm going to raise my staff and point it at, which is still glowing with my light cantrip, and I'm going to say a phrase in Aquan, which I use for my spells, and you feel a rush of cold past you. I'm going to see how this Constitution saving throw works. That's a 17 without modifiers. So you see me attempt to blast it with a frostbite cantrip, and as the icy blue mist attempts to condense and solidify into layer of frost, the creature is able to just shrug it off. No effect.
Alright.
I'm afraid.
Not an auspicious start.
Not an auspicious start, no. That is the problem with cantrips. They either work or they do not. Alright. That is my turn. I'm going to move slightly so we're not all grouped together. But this is a big room, it's fine. Alright, yes, Bree is up next.
What's Bree gonna do?
Bree is... What is she going to do? Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. Alright. She looks back and forth with us, and realizing that that my spell had no effect on it, she's going to give it her try. She raises her hand and speaks an incantation, which almost sounds almost like nonsense to the two of us, almost as if it's something she concocted herself, and she puts her hand forward, and you see as a ghostly hand emerges from hers and flies over and attempts to grab onto this creature.
Alright.
She casts Chill Touch. It's an attack roll. So this thing almost manages to move out of the way, but the hand does latch on, and it seems to attempt to, as far as you can tell, draw the life force from something that is not alive. It seems whatever creature this is, necrotic damage has no effect on it. And Bree is stares at realizing that her spell had no effect either.
Alright, we're not doing well here, guys.
No.
It's not a good start.
It's the larvae's turn now. Alright. Realizing that it is looking around, realizing that there are three of us, admittedly it's shrugged off two of our attacks on it. Without any issue, it still realizes it's outnumbered.
Yes. Feeling confident or is it
And that gurgling sound that it makes gets louder and louder, and then it lets out a sort of cry that still has that same gurgling throat quality, lack of throat quality that this thing has. And it's audible within 60 feet of it. I need you, myself, and Bree to make a wisdom saving throw.
That'll be a 6 plus 4, so 10. I have proficiency with wisdom saving throws.
Yep, so do I.
I don't know if 10's enough.
What were you adding? Only
Plus 4.
Plus
So
4?
Plus 2
Oh.
for proficiency.
And plus 2 for
plus
wisdom.
2
Yeah, okay.
wisdom,
Yours is
so
one lower
6,
than mine.
so makes it now 10.
Okay, I have a 15, and Bree has, Bree did the best out of all of us, and has no wisdom modifier, with an 18. So Bree and I shrug it off, but you feel your limbs seize up, and you are paralyzed, I am afraid. As a deep fear sets into you, and you are paralyzed for 1 minute.
That's a long time.
You do get to repeat this saving throw at the end of your turn.
Well, see now my turn.
So your turn is now.
I might as well roll
You're
it.
paralyzed, so your turn ends, and then you get to roll a save.
Alright, there we go. That should undo it.
What did you get?
21.
Yes. You feel it, and you're able to shrug it off through sheer willpower. But I'm afraid that is your turn.
Alright, team. That was a bad effort.
Literally nothing happened in the first round of combat.
level 1.
I'm going to try frostbiting it again.
Alright.
That's a 6. That's a fail.
Excellent. Now, does cold affect this thing is the next question, I
It
guess.
takes 4 points of cold damage. Now,
Doesn't
this
actually seem to be taking damage.
this time, it is not able to shrug off my spell, and the frost cloud sublimates. Is that the right word, or is that's the opposite, isn't it? Sublimate is
Turns to gas and goes away.
yeah, that's solid to gas, not. So the mist and water vapor freezes around it into a thick layer of frost, damaging it and hampering the creature so it has disadvantage on its next attack roll. So yes,
Not that yet.
it has not. It is not immune to cold, the way it is immune to necrotic damage.
Alright.
All right.
Bree has something else in her repertoire that might work on this besides that chill touch.
Yes. All right. Bree, realizing that this thing can actually be harmed with magic, because she may not have known, is going to... Alright, let's give this a try. She casts Chaos Bolt.
Oh, good God, no! Alright, there's a smoking crater where tower used to be.
Alright, she hurls an undulating, warbling mass of chaotic energy at one creature within range of the spell, which is 120 feet. She makes a ranged spell attack. That's a 17, that hits. Alright. This is a big spell. 2d8 plus 1d6.
Wow.
Not bad for a first level spell. There's more to this though. Okay. Alright, choose one of the d8s. The number roll, the die determines what type of damage is shown. Okay. So, the sphere just shifts in an entire spectrum of color as it is hurled. And as the mass comes together into this almost translucent sphere, and it detonates into this thing as it causes force damage. It causes 14 points of force damage.
Excellent.
To this thing. It did not like that. Alright. So if you roll the same number on both dice, which did not happen, so it doesn't copy itself. Okay. Yeah, because that spell basically copies itself and launches itself at a different target. However, as we feel, as the pull of all the magic energy she's released this, some surge has happened, as a wild magic sorcerer sometimes will cause.
Okay.
Nothing seems to happen.
Good.
Yeah.
So no fireball centered on her.
No, but we definitely felt the pull of pull of magic there. That was something unpredictable and uncontrolled. Okay. And that.
For the creature.
All right, the larvae's turn. It took a beating. Admittedly, not for me.
It wasn't me.
No, it wasn't. You were paralyzed up until a moment ago.
Yeah.
But it knows who. No, it knows who attacked it. It is going for Bree.
No, we better not get her killed. I don't think Mom will ever think.
This attack does have disadvantage because this is still the first attack roll made since it was hit with frostbite. So this attack is. On the other hand, that is a 19 and an 18.
Oh.
That hits her 11 armor class. 2 wizards and a sorcerer. Not to.
I guess I can't use my reaction with a shield around her. Huh?
Shield is personal, I'm afraid. You need to be an abjurer to do that.
That wouldn't work anyway.
Okay. So it lunges out and bites her, basically right on the same spot that it bit Edith. And the bite is shallow, but even as you see it, you see the dark matter that seems to be part of its being follow the teeth and bite in. Fortunately, so Bree takes only 1 point of piercing damage and only 2 points of necrotic damage, so this wasn't too bad of a hit.
How hurt does she look?
Like she lost a third of her hit points.
Stop metagaming.
I'm the DM, I'm allowed.
Alright.
She took it, that hurt, but she's up.
Alright.
Speaking of up, so are you.
Finally I get to do something in this.
Isn't that?
How damage does our little larval friend look?
It managed to shake off all of the frost at this point. That took it hurt it, but not much. The chaos bolt was devastating. It looked like it was almost going to fly apart after that, but it reformed itself. It's taken a beating. It's.
Alright, I'm not gonna risk a die roll. I'm going for the wizard's friend here.
You're casting a magic missile.
Magic missile.
All right then.
Use that for life.
We haven't used any spell slots so far.
No, this is my first spell slot. Alright, so we have 2, 7, 11 points of force damage.
That'll do it.
Excellent.
So you unleash the trio of magic missiles, which, well, you describe it. How do you want to kill this thing?
It doesn't have eyes, right? So I'm going to give it 2 eyes.
So you want it to, okay. So the 2 missiles go through its eye sockets. 1 goes through its mouth, which is still open from having just bitten Bree, and all of them go inside. And where magic missiles normally just blast through creatures like arrows or bullets, there's a detonation of force magic in this case, as the creature's form is obliterated.
Hopefully not completely, because it would be nice to bring back a little bit of evidence.
You see fragments of bone, like the skull itself, which seems to have been the only real corporeal aspect of this creature, fall to the ground, but the shadow disperses.
Alright. High fives all around.
Yep.
Our first combat.
Yes! And despite the fact there was a dead round in there, that went quite well.
1 round with nothing happened.
None of us, not all 4 combatants, did nothing. I could... my frostbite failed. Bree's chill touch couldn't hurt it. The paralysis cry paralyzed you for a round.
Yep. Well, actually less than a round, because I was up next.
It still cost you your turn. So it was a round. Alright. So, as the sounds of combat fade, and sounds there were. So.
Alright, because, do I notice above the watch taking interest in what just happened? Have I noticed everything like this?
You hear sounds from above. That cry was audible for about 60 feet.
That cry, that's
Yep.
right, my bad.
And there was also a pretty loud detonation from that, from both of those force blasts.
Alright, what I'm going to do then is, while we still have the bright light,
Yeah.
I'm going to collect a bunch of skull shards
Yep.
as evidence.
Most of them you can scoop up, yeah, that's fine.
I'm going to relight my candle
Yep.
and extinguish all our lights.
Yep. As a yep.
Spells.
It's an action just to dismiss the light spell. So fine. Yeah.
We should get rid of our familiars.
Yep.
And then over to the door. And if they're not pounding on it by now,
Yep.
I am going to unlatch it and head up.
Okay.
Are they all paralyzed by any chance?
Sorry?
Are they all paralyzed by any chance?
The paralysis effect only carries within 60 feet. They would have been above 60. They would have been outside that range, but they would have heard the cry.
Okay. They obviously are aware that something happened down there, right?
Yes. It's the young... so as you open... Basically, as you unlatch and open the door, there's the young guard coming down. There's like basically has his fist raised. Like, what happened? I heard it. It's like he's.
Show him the shards of the skull, and said that the creature that has been stalking our village has been destroyed.
Yeah, and Bree comes up and says, "It bit me." She says,
I'll tend to her wound. I'm going to do a medicine.
"You want to do a medicine check on us?"
On her, yes.
Okay.
Just find the wound, put some herbs and stuff on it. Hopefully, it won't obviously stop the blood, but hopefully help her out a little bit.
It was a shallow cut. It was a shallow one.
Yep.
Okay.
That's a natural one. Hopefully, it didn't make it worse.
So, it's a shallow wound, which is the good news because you're not making it worse. You're just basically poking and prodding it when she gets you to stop. Apart from the fact this might be a little bit of a blow to your reputation as a potential herbalist and physician in this town, you don't think there's anything else that's going to come of this?
I could give her a healing potion. That would seem like a bit of a waste.
You could. It was only 3 points of damage.
Well, it's not like healing potions do an awful lot anyway.
You're pretty sure a night's rest will see it to this. She seems mostly her usual chipper self, but
Right.
yeah.
I pat her in the back, say, sorry. Excitement of the
Yeah.
event.
Says, the guard you've been talking to says, "Send for the commander and the aldermen." As he regains his voice, basically, from shock.
Alright. I suspect wandering off at this point would be bad, so I think we'll sit down
Yep.
and wait for...
One of the watch officers, they do have some first aid stuff here. They go and basically just tend to Bree's injury, which is minor.
If he does better than me, I'm going to be really upset. Oh, don't roll! I rolled a natural 1!
5. He doesn't do much better than you. This is
Bree's probably just begging everyone to stop.
Yeah. She says, "I'll wait for Isabeau! Stop! 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 Stop!"
Yes. Don't tell my mom, by the way.
Yes.
While we're waiting for them to show up, I want to express again to Bree that we killed this thing by hitting it with our staves. And what did she have for weapon? Did she carry a weapon on her? No.
You notice for the first time, no, she does not have a weapon on her person.
Yeah,
Though she looks like the fact she might be thinking of getting one.
yeah, just like we beat on this thing with our staves.
Okay.
Just keep the magic thing under wraps for the moment, because there seems to be a few people in town that think magic is not a good thing, and she knows what I mean.
Yes, she knows exactly who you're talking about. Well, admittedly, she thinks the first name that comes to mind is Bilious for her.
Yes.
Gregor probably is less of an immediate concern for her, but she can put two together given time.
Okay, we wait.
So we wait. The alderman and Mustafa and, to your displeasure, Gregor, are all brought here, which doesn't make sense. They are effectively almost like the three heads of the village.
In charge of the town.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not. Okay.
So the alderman comes up first, obviously being the one who is de facto in charge. Says, "What have you just? You said the problem is solved. What has happened?"
Go through what we found in the text, and then explain. I clear my throat and I say to him, "We went through your library. We found some really good evidence. I think we mentioned it to your librarian. And we headed here directly because the creature that the evidence seemed to point towards was what's called larva.
Larvae, yes.
Larvae.
Yeah.
And because when I did my initial search of the tower, I had this feeling about it. There's something that seemed to be wrong. I thought I want to reinvestigate. We brought along an extra pair of eyes because the more the better. And we
at this point, Bree speaks up and says, "It bit me." She says, "I want that on record." She says, looking over at Gregor.
So we found a couple of loose stones, bricks, whatever you want to call them, and we noticed that there was a room underneath the tower. So we came in, we investigated, we went down, we happened upon this creature, and like I said, we exuded a great deal of force upon it. We have stabs here, and we managed to beat it up. Unfortunately, Bree did get bitten. Hopefully her mom won't scold me too much for that. But yes, I show him the skull shards. This is all that's left of the creature.
Okay.
And hopefully this is the only one, and this is now something in our past.
Alright, please roll a deception check.
No deception. I did not lie.
You did...
Used our stabs and exerted a great deal of force.
Okay, technically not a lie, then fine.
Give me advantage if you really want to be persnickety about it.
I was going to give you advantage anyway.
Alright.
This is, okay.
Well, persuasion?
Persuasion, fine, yes, if you want.
I have my highest as a 17 with -1 for charisma.
17, okay, 1 second. There's 3 characters insight checking you at the moment. Just let me bring this all up for a second. Okay, so...
There's only one I care about.
He rolled really high. What did you roll?
After modifiers, 16.
Okay. Now they might all... Okay. Okay. So, Mustafa is like, well, at least this is all done with. He believes your story.
Alright.
Well enough. He got a 14. The alderman is picking up on some things that you're not telling, but it's just like, it is over. Good, good. He saw through your a little charade. He rolled a 17, in case you're wondering. Gregor looks at all of this and is deeply suspicious, I'm afraid.
Wonderful.
But he is mostly, again, he says, well, at the very least, he looks down at these remains and says, this has been laid to rest. He says, and, he says, with your permission, Alderman, I will take these remains and lay them to rest on consecrated ground, so that no more of this evil will plague our village. The alderman says, yes, Jonas, please, if you wouldn't mind, give the good father here these bones, and he'll...
I have no problem handing over the remains.
Yep.
I'm not going to keep trophies or anything.
No. He takes them from you, and there is a bit of brief eye contact between the two of you.
Alright.
And then he turns and leaves.
I want to insight check that eye contact.
Okay.
Never mind.
What did you roll?
Insight is wisdom?
Yes.
10.
You beat him. He rolled an 8.
Ah! Technically I rolled an 8 too, but I have a +2.
Yeah, but he rolled a 6 plus 2.
Thing of him trying some sort of something? What?
He does not believe your story and is suspicious of all of us and has come to the conclusion you're pretty sure. He's a little difficult to read, but you did manage to see through it. You think he's going to be keeping a close eye on all of us.
Well, I will stop short of kicking the butt on his way out the door. But that's fine.
Yeah, and he wraps the skull fragments up in some sort of altar cloth, you think?
Okay.
And stuffs that into his robes and heads off.
The Alderman and
Mustafa are still remaining, yes.
I want to mention to them that through all this investigation, I think the cause for this was our methods of executing people, tossing them off. Because there's a pile of bones down there that I noticed. I probably shouldn't be saying this because how can you see 600 feet away a pile of bones? But anyway, I'm going to say I noticed some bones down there, and I'm pretty sure that's the section of the wall where this thing came up. It's just my suspicions. It does seem to be proven forth in this how this all came out of it anyway. Just want to let you guys know, and I want to tell you after Gregor left, because he was giving me some really interesting stink eye there when I was telling you what had happened.
Mustafa just nods and takes all this in and is like, yes, there is some definite links between our systems of punishment and justice and this creature. He says, the fact that it came here, I'm fairly certain is no coincidence. The Alderman says...
Also, because the unfortunate lady who was killed is the oldest member of our town, as far as I can tell, it would be the only link that this creature would have to its unfortunate demise, if this is all true. Everyone else is, born way after that event, so... Well, not maybe way after, but... Anyway.
Yes, he says, all worth considering. He says,
yeah. And hopefully we'll all have a good night's sleep, and this will all be behind us.
He says,
as far as we can tell, there's only the one, so...
the Alderman says, well, I think this does... The fact that you three solved this does merit some reward. He says, there's some funds set aside in the village that is rewards for such deeds in assisting the watch and the village. He says, I think you've earned some.
Well, very kind of you. If she had any relatives or family, whatever, I would say give it to them, but apparently she doesn't, so I'm quite happy to accept the money.
You also know that Edith was one of the more well-off members of the village, so even if she did have any relatives, there would be some monetary gain for them.
Yeah, sorry, it just seems kind of creepy to think the poor old lady. That's it. We'll just.
All right. He basically, so he's going to give us a reward, which is going to amount to 15 gold pieces. Total. Split 3 ways. It was.
Here I was really worried about being, over and down with tons of money.
It was 3d10, but I rolled low.
That's fine.
Yeah. So 5 gold pieces each, which is, in all honesty, a bit more than I was expecting when we first started this. Doing this?
Yeah, well, it takes my 10 gold and...
Raises it by 50%.
Yeah, so
And I think that's where we will call it then.
Hey, our first scenario, we survived.
Yeah.
Level 1. God.
It can be stressful, or in this case, it can be stressful, or in this case, a little uneventful, based on that last fight.
That's okay. I mean, level 1 is underrepresented on all the channels that I've seen.
Yeah.
And
So,
it is part of it, you know. You can, as we noticed, quite easily die. So, we want to, you know, show people that we got to our level 3s or 4s or whatever, an honest way.
Yep.
Just like saying, oh, hey, we got these more hit points now.
yep. Well, this was very fun doing. We're definitely going to do it again, and I hope everyone who watched this video enjoyed the journey that we had along the way.
Oh, and before we sign off, the next video, I'll be DMing.
Yes, we are going to alternate DMing. So you'll be getting to see Fishman DM, and you'll be getting a chance to see me as the active player, as it was.
Yes. So, thanks everybody.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.